A very good morning to all my dear students. On behalf of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, I welcome you all for today's revisionary section for acceptance of deposits. So I hope you are preparing well for your exams and you have revised all the chapters that have been done so far. And today you all are geared up and have gathered here for the revision of chapter of acceptance of deposits. So since it's going to be a revisionary session, so I'm going to ask you a number of questions because your exams are just coming up. So we'll have a quick revision of all the provisions and we'll try to make the session as interactive as possible. So a very good morning to all of you present here. Good morning, Bhumika, Om Krishna, Abhishek, Khushbu, Swami. Good morning, children. And let me see how many students are there with us on the portal as well. A very good morning to all of you. Okay, Swati. Good morning. Okay, so let's begin with acceptance of deposits. So what is the meaning of deposits? Why this chapter has been made and what all is applicable to these provisions? That is what we're going to understand. So you must have studied before this about prospectus, share capital and debentures. I think I remember I met you for the share capital and debentures and then we did MGT also. So today we are going to talk about deposits. So in prospectus, we have learned about raising of the funds by the company. Whenever the company was in need of money, it went out and even asked the money from public. Can a private company go and ask the money from the public? Yes or no? In the chat box. No. Very good. So all of you agree with this. Only a public company can go and ask for the money. And how does the public company ask for the money? It's either IPO, FPO, OFS, initial public offer, or the further public offer that you're raising and you're asking for the money. But apart from this money, there are certain borrowings which is done by the company. There are certain funds which are needed by the company. And again, the company is doing certain amount of borrowings. All those kind of borrowings are known as kind of a deposits which the company is taking. So the chapter overview is what we're going to talk about over here is prohibition on acceptance of deposit. The public, you cannot go and ask the deposits very easily unless and until you're following section 73 and section 76 as laid down the provisions of Companies Act 2013. So deposits basically means any receipt of money, any amount of money that you're getting from outside, any receipt received by the company is a deposit, which is going to be repaid, any borrowings that you get. But there is an exclusive definition given in chapter 5, right? Acceptance of deposits is chapter 5 after prospectus, share capital, and then chapter number 5. So the provisions have been given in a section 2, clause 31, which gives a very exclusive definition about deposits. So in the first half, we'll be understanding what is deposit and what is not deposit. And in the second half of the session, I'll be elaborating upon section 73, 76 and how the deposit trustee is appointed, how the provisions for the repayment reserve is made, all those kind of provisions we will be understanding in detail, but we'll try to make it as interactive as possible so that I can ask you questions and you have your quick revision. That is important, right? So what is a deposit? Deposit means any money which you have received by the company, but it does not include the further categories as decided in consultation with Reserve Bank of India. So that it's an exclusive list of 16, 17 items which are not considered as deposit. So above definition of deposit is inclusive one, means any other things can be included in it, anything can be excluded from it. It's not that this is the fixed definition, it cannot move here and there from it, okay? So we can include certain items. Okay, Rishabh Gupta, you will get all the PDFs of the PPTs, don't worry. I'll check at the admin and you will get all the presentations. Okay. So it includes any money received by way of deposit or loan or any other form. Repayment of deposit is time bound. So obviously, if you have borrowed money from someone, you have to repay the money as well. It can be secured, it can be unsecured. What is the meaning of giving security? So you went to the bank to take certain amount and asked for a 1 lakh of rupees of loan. Now, bank is going to give you a loan, seeing your financial statements and other things. Don't you think bank expects certain amount of security from your side? a protection to cover themselves that tomorrow, if you fail to repay my 1 lakh rupees, I have certain holding of yours assets so that I can dispose them off if you fail to pay my money. So say, for example, Mr. A went to the bank to take a loan of 1 lakh rupees, and bank said that give me certain amount of gold, some value of the assets, which is more than the amount of loan that you're taking from me. So that tomorrow, Mr. A, if you don't pay my money, I will sell off your gold and I will recover your money. I'll recover my money. So that kind of debt is a secured debt. Yes, a lien, a hypothecation, mortgage, Abhishek Singh, Khushbu, Swati, very good, excellent. Om Krishnam, wonderful answers you all are giving. All right. So this is a kind of mortgage or pledge that you do, certain amount of security that you do. So deposits can be secured, they can be unsecured. Private company can accept deposits from its members only. Why? Because my dear students just told me, because private company cannot go to the public. For what it was issuing the prospectus, at that time also it was only going for the private placement. Section 42. Remember? It never goes out to the public. But public company can accept the deposits from members as well as from the public, but they have to follow certain parameters. You have to be an eligible public company. What are the provisions? If you are IFSC public company, 100% of the deposits can be taken. If you're a private company, 100%, but no limit if you're an exempted private company. All those details we'll be understanding when we'll be going through the chapter, section 73 and 76. So what are the amounts which are not considered as deposits? These amounts are given under Rule 2. All these amounts are not considered as deposit. So how you have to learn it? Because now are the time when you're revising and you have to learn the things for your exam. Many times you ask me, children, can we write briefly in the exam or can we simply make flowcharts? Please remember, law is not about just writing the flowcharts and leaving it on the examiner to understand what this picture means. You have to write legal language. You all are now going to be professionals very soon. So you have to, law has to be written, law language has to be used. You have to express yourself. So writing practice, the maximum you will make your habit of writing practice, the more you will become happier when you go and give your exam. Okay, so let's quickly learn how the first 3 points have to be learned. Amount not considered as deposit. Number one, if you're taking any money from government. What kind of government, ma'am? Central government and state government, or you're giving any guarantee has been given by the state government and central government. That means you have borrowed certain money and CG is giving the guarantee that please give money to this company. This is a very good company and it will repay. That amount will not be considered as deposit. Means the chapter, all these provisions of Companies Act 2013, section 73 to 76A will not be applicable to those kind of amounts. Clear? Then second, it talks about foreign government, foreign institutionals, foreign developments, foreign international banks. So I've highlighted all these words have been highlighted in bold so that you simply flip through the pages of the presentation and you see these highlighted words and things become simpler for you. Why these are not considered as deposit? Because we have the provisions of FEMA applicable to them. So FEMA talks about these kind of money that we have taken from the foreign international bodies and foreign government. FEMA is applicable. Deposit provisions are not applicable. Finish. Third is again the loan facility taken from any banking company, SBI, subsidiaries, cooperative, public financial. So that is a different story. Whenever you're borrowing money from banks or SBIs or public financial institutions, then deposit provisions are not applicable. Banking provisions, other acts are applicable. Fine. First three were related to government, banks, and foreign government. Done. Next 2 points are related to commercial papers and intercompany loans. How we have to remember any commercial paper. So company ABC Limited is receiving money and it is issuing commercial papers in return of that. What is a commercial paper? It is a kind of a promissory note that I promise to pay you this amount of money after a certain date. So if these kind of commercial papers are issued by the company, then it is not considered as deposit. What is point number 5? Amount received by a company from another company. ABC Limited, PQR Limited. PQR Limited has lended certain money, say 1 lakh rupees to ABC Limited. Now, is it a kind of a deposit? It is an intercompany loans. So intercompany loans, when you go to CA final, you have detailed provisions about how intercompany loans are treated and how they are booked in the balance sheet. So provisions of deposits are not applicable to those intercompany loans. Clear? Now let's talk about the share application money. Here comes your testing time. Here comes the questions that I'm going to ask you because this is related to the chapter of prospectus. So in prospectus, section 3940, you must have read about that. You must have studied about that. Allotment of securities. So if I have received the share application money after issuing prospectus, within how many days the securities shall be allotted, children? Come on, tell me. Within how many days after receiving the share application money, allotment of securities shall happen? 40 days, 50 days, 60 days, 90 days. MCQ. 90 days, Swati is saying. Look at you. Om Krishnam is saying 90 days. Within 90 days, the securities shall be allotted. Are you sure? Good, Bhumika. Well done. It's written in front of you in the screen, children. Read the answer. Do some cheating from the screen itself. It's written in my presentation. Now you all have cheated and corrected your answer. Good. It's 60 days, children. Swati is sending smileys now, huh? So you have understood? So you have to apply your mind and you have to learn these things. Now, this is a very important provision. Twice we are using this provision. So learn it by heart. Share application money, 60 days, allot the securities. And if I have not allotted the securities within 60 days, what happened? I have to refund the money. Now tell me within how many days? Now tell me within how many days the money should be refunded. If I have not allotted the securities, thank God, everyone has written correct answer now, 15 days. Good. Now you're back on track. So brushing up of prospectus is required. This makes me sure. So you must revise your chapter nicely. So share application money, we have started over there in prospectus. Application money received within 60 days, allot the securities. If security is not allotted in 60 days, within 15 days, return back the money in the same scheduled bank from which the money was received. Now, this was the provision. What is the deposit in this? If you fail to return back this money even in 15 days, then 60 days plus 15 days, 75 days total law has given you. Then from the 76th day, this amount shall be treated as deposit. If you have not returned the money and you have not even issued the securities within 60 days, then that amount will be treated as deposit under these rules, Rule 2 of the Companies Act. Clear? Point number 6 ka first point is clear. Second point of point number 6, on which the examiner has twice given you a question. It says any adjustment of the amount for any other purpose will not be treated as refund. Means instead of giving, say I'm a company ABC Limited, I took share application money of 1 crore rupees. Now I've not allotted the securities and you are one of the investor, 1 lakh rupees you have given and I'm supposed to return your money in 15 days. Yes, ma'am. But instead of returning you your money, what I'm trying to do is I'm going to do certain adjustment with you. There was certain amount which was due from you and I will just make an entry that, okay, Mr. A, you have paid me that amount. Now I'm not going to refund you. So such kind of adjustments, if you are making about the refund of application money, that is not considered as a refund. You have to refund the money within 15 days. Otherwise, whatever amount you have adjusted will be treated as a deposit. All right, good. Point number 7, any amount received from a person who at the time of receipt was a director of the company or a relative of the director of private company. Can you catch the hold over here? The word director is written and when the word or relative came, the word private company comes up. So if I've received the money from a director of public company, does it include the relative of public company also? Yes, ma'am or no, ma'am? When I'm talking the amounts which are not considered as deposit, 7 point, will includes the relative of public company also? No, ma'am. Very good. Om Krishnam, Bhumika, Abhishek Singh, Swati, all of you. Khushi. Everyone is answering nicely. Great. So that means any money received from a director of public company, that is not deposit. Any money received from a director or a relative of private company, that is not deposit. Examiner can give you a question on this. Mr. A was a director and and B and C are the relatives of the director of private company. They have given certain money to a company. Will it be considered as deposit? No, ma'am. Under point number 7 of Rule 2 of the Companies Act 2013, we have read, or you can simply write down, as per the provisions of the Companies Act 2013, there is a definition of deposit. You will write that definition of deposit. There is a list which are of the amounts which are not considered as deposit. One of the list includes any amount received from a person who at the time of receipt was either a relative or a director of the private company. That will not be considered as deposit, provided 2 conditions are fulfilled. What are the 2 conditions? At the time of giving money, you have to take a declaration that this money is given out of his own funds and not out of the borrowing. Means the money that Mr. B and C, the relatives of private company, are giving to the company, that should be their own money, their own self-earned money, not the borrowed money from the banks. What is the meaning of this? Now, B and C has borrowed the money from the bank to lend it to the company. Then this provision is not applicable. So in order to make this provision applicable, the money that you are lending to the company should not be from the borrowed funds. And also the company shall disclose the details of the money so accepted in the board's report. The details of such money shall be given in the board's report. So two provisions have to be satisfied. All right. Quickly tell me, what are the two provisions? Answer me quickly. What are the two provisions, two conditions to be satisfied if the amount from the receipt from the director is not to be considered as deposit? What are the two conditions? Number one, declaration to be given in writing that the amount is out of self money. Very good, Swati. It is not a borrowed money. And second is the amount has to be disclosed in the board's report of the company. Very good. All of you have given the correct answers. Now, any amount, next point. Any amount received by issuing of bonds and debentures. So now the company is issuing bonds and debentures by creating a first charge or a charge ranking pari passu with the first charge. So this is my water bottle. Let's assume it's a very expensive water bottle or maybe an expensive watch I'm having. And I am going to give this as a charge, as a security to the bank in order to obtain loan. So I've given my expensive watch to HDFC Bank. Say I have taken a loan of 50,000 and 70,000-80,000 worth we watch I have given to HDFC Bank and taken a loan of 50,000. Now, at the same time, I went to SBI and I took a loan, and at the same watch I have given to them as a security. So the first charge has been created in favor of HDFC Bank. Tomorrow, if I fail to pay the money, HDFC Bank will sell my watch and recover their money. But when I gave this security to SBI Bank, I said that this watch that I'm giving, it has a pari passu charge with the first charge. Now, let's assume I have taken a loan of 50,000 from HDFC and 70,000 from SBI. So whatever money will be recovered from this watch will be paid to both the banks in the ratio of 5:7. So that is the meaning of pari passu, means equal footing, the equal weightage will be given to both the banks with the charge with whom the charge has been created. So second charge and first charge will be treated equally. Excluding intangible assets, the chapter of deposits never talk about intangible assets. Whatever you're giving as a security shall always be a tangible asset. What are intangible assets, children? Goodwill, copyrights, trademarks, all these kind of things. Something which is not, cannot be seen, which is not visible, goodwill, patents, yes, all these things are not considered as secure, cannot be given as a security in case of deposits. All right. So the bonds and debentures, now what is happening over here? Now you have understood the concept of first charge and pari passu. Now it says the bonds and debentures which are secured by the first charge or pari passu charge. These are the bonds which shall not exceed the market value, means whatever the amount of security that you're giving should always be more than the amount of the loan that you have taken from the bank. All right. And these bonds and debentures which you have issued by giving a security can be convertible into shares within 10 years. So either it is a secured bond and debenture or it is a convertible bonds and debentures. Convertible means in next 10 years, it will be converted into shares. Or if it is not secured, means unsecured, and it is not convertible, but it is a listed bond and debenture, then also this amount will not be considered as deposit. So quickly make your notes for the point number 8, bonds and debentures by first charge or pari passu charge means secured by first charge or pari passu charge, then they are not deposit. Convertible bonds and debentures, they are not deposits. If they are not secured, not convertible, but if they are listed on the recognized stock exchange, then they will not be considered as deposits. All right. Yes, Khushbu, that's correct for intangible assets. Is that clear? So first 3 points related to governments, banks, 4th and 5th, commercial papers, and your intercompany. 6th point was very important. We did it in detail, share application, money, prospectus chapter related. And then we have done point number 7th and 8th also, which are related to director and bonds and debentures. Now let's move to the point of if second charge created then. So Abhishek Singh, I just explained you that I took first charge I took from HDFC Bank. First charge was created. No other charge has been taken. HDFC Bank can freely sell my watch and recover the money. But if I've created the same watch has been given as a security to SBI Bank for the second loan that I've taken with them, for the loan that I've taken from them, then both of them have equal right on the security. Pari passu charge means equal footing. Both the banks will be treated as equal footing as far as the security is concerned. Okay, so the amount has to be repaid full. When we do chapter of registration of charges, there I will explain you how this charge is paid off. But as of now, pari passu means both the banks. So 5:7 was the ratio. The amount will be paid to them in that ratio from that security. Is that clear, Abhishek? Any amount received from employee of the company not exceeding his annual salary. So there is a very interesting question given in the study material. Let me just take you in the study material also. So I make sure when we are revising, we should be flipping through the pages of study material also so that you remember and understand where and what we have read. So these are all the points that we are doing, amounts which are not considered as deposits. So this is your point of example number 2 in the study material. Ratnakar was appointed as a supervisor by Siddhi Transporters and Logistics Limited on the annual salary of rupees 6 lakh. He was required to deposit a sum of 6,50,000 under the contract of employment as a security deposit on which no interest was payable. So now, will you consider this amount as a deposit or not as a deposit? Please answer me. Also give me the reason why. Okay. Not as a deposit because exceeds annual salary. Okay. Because it is exceeding annual salary, it will be considered as deposit. Swati says something else, Abhishek says something else, Om Krishnam says something else. All of you are giving different answers. So let's read the provision again. Listen to the provision. Amount received from the employee not exceeding his annual salary and not bearing interest will be considered as deposit. So not bearing interest point is being met over here. Not exceeding means annual salary से ज़्यादा नहीं होना चाहिए. 6 lakh was the annual salary. 6,50,000 amount has been taken. So since the amount is more than his annual salary, that's why this amount will be considered as deposit, children. That is why I made you do this example. So there can be such questions. No, because not interest bearing. So Khushbu, non-interest bearing word is there, but both the conditions have to be seen. So Bhumika is right. Amount paid exceeding annual salary, it will be a deposit. Even if it is not bearing the interest, since the amount is exceeding, so both the conditions have to be satisfied. It should be not exceeding the annual salary and it shall be not bearing the interest. All right, clear now? Okay. But if the amount would have been less than 6 lakh, then yes, ma'am, it will not be considered as a deposit because then it is non-interest bearing and the amount is less than the annual salary, then it will not be considered as deposit. Fine. Okay. Then the amount received and held in the trust. So whatever amount is received and being held, somebody holding the money for you as a trustee, that will not be counted as the deposit. Now, all these provisions are a little important. Let me just take you back in the presentation. And we'll keep coming back to the study also. A non-interest bearing amount received or paid to the trust will not be considered as deposits. Any amount received for the purpose of business. Now we're going to do 7 provisions out in point number 11. Itself has 7 different points which are going to talk about the receipt of the money in the ordinary course of business. So in the ordinary course of business, while doing your business, if you're receiving any sum of money which is received as an advance, what is the meaning of advance, children? So I am a retailer and you are a wholesaler and I keep coming to you and I keep purchasing certain grocery items from you and I used to pay you as advance. So you supply me the material later, but I have paid you the advance today. So if you supply me the material within 365 days, then this will not be considered as deposit by the government. So your ABC Limited, you have been supplying me the material, goods and services, and the money that I've paid you as an advance, will not be considered as deposit. What is the condition? That the goods shall be supplied within 365 days of acceptance of deposit. Except where the advance is matter of legal proceedings, means tomorrow if we have a fight related to this advance, yes, some money which is prepaid. Yes, Kushbu, that's correct. So tomorrow, if we have any fight and we went to the bank, we went to the court for the legal proceedings, then 365 days are not important. But otherwise, if within 365 days you're issuing me, then any advance received for such amount will not be considered as deposits. Any advance related to immovable property. So you're purchasing any immovable property, you're purchasing a house in Bombay. So that house is 5 crore rupees. So you have given said 1 crore rupees as an advance. So you're a company and you will be getting this immovable property. This balance 4 crores when you will pay, this advance will be adjusted against the final money. Then this 1 crore will not be considered as the deposit. Security deposit given for the performance of a contract. I want you to perform a contract for me for long-term projects of supply of capital goods or any type of contract for the goods and services. So for these things, if any security advance has been given, that will not be considered as deposits. Then the fifth point is advance towards the consideration of providing future services. You went to purchase a mobile phone from the dealer, and that mobile phone person, he said that I'm going to give you a certain annual maintenance contract. So AMCs are given to you, or certain washing machine you have purchased and you have paid certain advance money for the AMC's contract. Annual maintenance contract means tomorrow if any problem happens, they will come and send the dealer and they will do all the corrections. So such kind of arrangements if have been made, these amounts are not deposits. Section 73 to 76A will not be applicable to such advancement. Provided the period for which this advance is given shall not exceed the common business practice of 5 years, whichever is this. So let's assume that the machinery person who is giving the annual maintenance contract, he has given it for the 3 years or 5 years, whichever is this. So 3 years. So that is for 3 years, this amount will not be considered as deposits. Or any money received from the sectoral regulator according to the state government, central government, or any money for the subscription of publication. So you have taken any newspaper or any subscriptions and you're paying the money for that for its publication, then those amounts will not be considered as deposits. Now, what is it trying to give a clarification? Point number A, B, and D. What is A? Point number A means for 365 days you have to give for the advance money. B is the advance for the immovable property, and D is the advance for the long-term projects. Now, all these advances for the long-term projects or the goods and services supply or immovable property, here the company, if there is any problem, if any permission is required for dealing in such goods and services and that permission has not been taken, or such immovable property they're not allowed to deal with, or that long-term project has come to closure, then this amount becomes, it is important for you to return this amount. Then within 15 days, the people should return the amount to the dealers from whom they have taken. And if you do not return within 15 days, then what will happen, children? From the 16th day, this advance will be treated as a dash. Please fill it up. You shall return. So you are not going to sleep in the class. You have to answer me back. Yes, good. From 16th day, this amount will be counted as a deposit. Very nice. Correct answer. Clear? All these 7 points are clear to everyone. Now let's move to the 12th point. Any amount given by the promoter of the company. Who is a promoter, children? Who is a promoter of a company? A person who has formed the company, a person who is managing the affairs of the company, karta dharta of the company, who are the main promoters, who have tomorrow become directors or shareholders, but they are the one who have initiated and started with the company. So any amount brought in by the promoters. Now this promoter, ABC Limited promoter, he says that I am going to give the unsecured loan to the company. Why they are giving this unsecured loan? Because bank said that if you want some money from me as a loan, first the promoter shall give them money to the company. Okay, so there is a provision in which the lending institution, the bank itself, is saying that I will give money to your company only if the promoter of the company is also giving loan to the company. And this loan, so what are the 3 conditions? Loan is bought because, so promoter has given the loan because of the stipulation, means a condition imposed by the lending institutions that promoter should contribute the finance. And this loan has been given by the promoter or his relative. Then this exemption will be available only till the loans of the banks are repaid. So whenever the bank's loan is repaid, the loan of the promoter is also repaid. So this exemption is only available till the time these loans are repaid. So what are the provisions for the promoters of the company? Let me see who all have written the correct thing. Company's promoter is a person who starts the company and business. Very good, Khushbu. There is another one. Abhishek, whose name is written in the prospectus as promoter. That's correct. Who incorporates the company? Yes, Bhumika, Swati, Khushbu, all of you are correct. Abhishek, yes. So promoter of the company is giving the loan because banking institutions have imposed the condition that you should give loan to the company, and the loan is given by the promoter or his relative, and this exemption is available only till the time the loan of the bank or the promoter is repaid. Once you have repaid, then there is no such provisions or exemptions. Now, next three, again, you have to learn amount received by Nidhi Company. Nidhi Company is actually taking the deposits and inculcating the habit of saving, thrift of saving among the members. So their business is this only, that take the deposits from the members and public. And chit funds are also for incorporated under Chit Fund Act. So whatever the provisions of Chit Fund Acts are applicable to them, these provisions of deposits are not applicable if any money has been taken in the way of chit funds. And CIS is collective investment scheme. If these are framed by SEBI itself, so any collective investment schemes which have been framed by SEBI, if any amount has been received under this scheme, then that will not be considered as deposits. So now moving to the 16 point. Any doubts still here, children? Okay. Any amount received of 25 lakh rupees or more by a startup company. What is a startup company? Can anyone tell me? Startup company is a private company which has been Department for Promotion and Industry and International. So DPIIT is the abbreviation, Department of Promotion of Industry and International Trade. So all these kind of companies are, and it is a private company which has been recognized by this department. So it is known as a startup company. Now, this startup company is taking a loan worth rupees 25 lakh rupees or more. And what are they giving in return? They're giving a convertible note. It is a note which means the instruments will be first treated as a debt, and then at the option of the holder, it can be converted into equity shares within a period not exceeding from the date on which the amount of loan was taken. And this has been done in a single tranche from a person. Single tranche means single transaction. It's not that you're giving the loan of 15 lakhs and then of 5 lakhs and then of 10 lakhs, then it has become 25 lakhs. No. Single loan of 25 lakhs, single tranche means single transaction of 25 lakhs has been taken or more by a startup company. Startup company means a company which has been, a private company which has been recognized as startup by DPIIT department, and they're issuing the convertible note in return of that. Convertible note means a note which shows the debt, udhar ka paisa jo liya hai humne, but it can be converted into the equity shares in the next 10 years on the happening of certain events. What are those events? Say, for example, the revenue of the company went up to 5 crores, or the company did some good sales, or any other reason due to which this debt can be converted into equity shares. And it shall be happening in 10 years. Then this amount will not be considered as a deposit. Okay. Yes, Rishabh Gupta, that's correct. Convertible note is correct. Startup company is correct. And this provision is also done, nicely done. Now, point number 17 talks about any amount received by a company from alternate investment funds, domestic venture capital funds, infrastructure investment trusts. So infrastructure, those which are holding, they take the money from you and they invest in the big infrastructure companies, or they are big real estates. You cannot go and approach to the real estate investment trust directly. So you make certain alternative arrangements. You go to the persons who are dealing with these real estates and you give your money and they invest on your behalf in these real estate investment trusts. And mutual funds. Mutual funds is the easiest to understand. Say, for example, you are a person, Mr. B, who has given certain money to the mutual fund investor. And now this mutual fund is going to invest your money in ABC Limited, or say Reliance. They have mutual fund is going to invest further your money to Reliance. Now, this money which the mutual fund person is paying to Reliance will not be considered as deposit. Okay, all these kind of investments which you are making in order to earn money, they will not be considered as deposits received by the company. Is that clear? Yes, Abhishek saying it will not be considered as a deposit because all these provisions which have not been counted as a deposit, that has to be taken into consideration. And again, it is about the companies. National Highway Authorities, if the company is taking, whether the company is there or not, that organizations have to are there, then it becomes a different case. Good, Om Krishnam. So any doubts still here, children? Because we have finished off with the definition of deposits. We have understood. So this is your, you can say, 30 to 40% part of the syllabus of this chapter we have covered is about the definitions. Now we're going to do certain questions out of that. So if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Otherwise, I'll proceed to the questions. You want to ask anything, you want to raise your hands, you want to speak, you want to talk, please feel free. All right, so no doubts? Good. To answer the following citing relevant provisions, Bayer Electrical Limited having a paid up capital of 1 crore availed a term loan of 10 lakhs from ABC Bank to purchase electrical items. Mr. Tar, one of the director of the company, is of the opinion that it shall be considered as a deposit. So there is a company which has a paid up capital of this. They have taken a term loan from ABC Limited. Now, will it be considered as a deposit or not? Please tell me. Shall we consider this amount as a deposit or not? Point number 3, you have read nicely. Rule 2, any amount received from banks, its subsidiaries, financial institutions. Okay, Khushbu, we'll do that. So this will not be considered as deposit. Excellent. Swati, Abhishek Singh, Rishabh Gupta, Bhumika, correct answers because Om Krishnam, because it is not a deposit, not intercompany deposit, Om Krishnam. It is because the amount has been taken from ABC Bank Limited. So any amount received, so rule 2, 1C, 3 of the company's acceptance rule. What you have to remember is rule 2 of the Companies Act, then also it's fine if you write this. Of the company's rules, whenever you're referring to the rules, it will be Company Rules 2014. Any amount received as a loan or facility from banking company will not be considered as deposit. Therefore, its contention is is to be considering as a deposit is not correct. Where it is written, ma'am? Here it is written, ma'am. Children, here the first point. Can you read the third point? Any amount received as a loan from any banking company, SBI subsidiary, or any other cooperative public financial institutions will not be considered as deposits. Question 1, part 3, part B is a section 76 that we have not done so far. Please read question number 2 and answer me. All of you will read question number 2 and you have to answer me in the chat box. What should be the correct answer for this? So there are chances that direct questions will also be coming in interpaper, but most of the time these kind of questions come where the case study based questions, actually they're very direct only, but they will not be always asking you straightforward questions. From LLP, FEMA, you might see straightforward questions, but again, these case studies are also like a direct question only if you understand it carefully. And always in the exam, children try to understand the chapter to which the provisions relate. If you have understood that, then you can just quickly have a revision in your mind that what all provisions were given in this particular chapter. So what is the correct answer, children? Examine the validity of the CS report, whether it is correct or not. Share application money is being received. He failed to pay the shares. If share allotment is not done, then the money shall be refunded to the customer. But to one of the customer, the dues were payable. They have done the book adjustment. So will it be treated as refund? Yes or no? Allotment has been done or not? What all answers you are going to give me? Not a deposit because the amount utilized for other purpose. Okay, Swati. All right. Others are still thinking. So let me just show you the answer. So it says all these following categories not a deposit. If the amount has been received for the share application money and for allotment, it has been held or adjusted against the refund, then it is not considered as deposit. But it has been clarified that the amount is not allotted and not returned, then this amount from the 76th day will be treated as deposit. And also it has been written that any adjustment of this amount will not be treated as refund. So RS Limited has received 50 lakhs. It failed to allot the securities and the company has made the adjustment by way of book adjustment towards the company. So if such application money is not refunded, company had more 15 days, but still it did not refund the money, then any adjustment shall not be treated as refund. So this amount of 5 lakhs will be received, cannot be treated as refund, means it will be treated as deposit by the company. So when you're not treating it as a refund, yes, Rishabh Gupta, absolutely correct. Swati, you are also correct. So all of you are correct, children. So, but this is how the answer should be presented nicely. Always break your answers in 3 different paragraphs. Provisions of the act. What are the company's provisions? What are the act law trying to tell you? Then what is your facts of the case? It is a short summary from the question, and then the conclusion. If two questions has been asked, so you write down in the light of the facts of the question and provisions given above, this is my analysis or this is my conclusion. Always try to briefly break it down into different points, and all the answers shall be answered correctly and nicely. There is one another question. Question number 3. All of you, please read it. Question number 3, you all have to read and give me the answers. Promoters of Green Limited, unsecured loan has been given by State Industries Development Corporation for granting loan. In the light of the provisions and rules, please tell whether the unsecured loan will be treated as a deposit or not. So they are promoters in the form of unsecured loan. They're giving the money in fulfillment of the margin money requirements for granting the loan in the light. So all the provisions of promoters will come over here. The loan is being brought because of the stipulation imposed. Loan is being given by the promoter or his relatives. Such exemption is available only till the loans are repaid. So this amount has been included. The loan which has been given by the promoters will not be considered as deposits. So this unsecured loan which they have contributed will not be deposit, as unsecured loan is what? Because of the condition imposed by SIDCL. Okay. Is that clear? Very good, Rishabh, Swati, Bhumika. Correct answers have been given by all of you. Let us see if we can do certain questions, examples. Okay, Greenwood Limited, which is registered as a startup, has received an amount of 20 lakhs and 10 lakhs on different dates by way of convertible note. Though the company has received 25 lakhs, can be considered as deposit or not as a deposit? Please tell me, children. Remember, the 25 lakh rupees by way of convertible note, if you're issuing, shall be a single tranche, means single transaction, but here 20 lakhs and then 10 lakhs. So here, since the aggregate amount has not been received in a single tranche, therefore the said amount will be treated as deposit or not? Yes or no? We should consider it as a deposit or we should not? So how many yes I'm getting? Khushbu, Khushi, Swati, Abhishek, Rishabh, all of you are correct. Deposits because they are not in a single transaction. Understood, children? So there is a small clarification also which is given over here that private companies, any amount received by private companies before 1st April will not be considered as deposit if the amounts have been disclosed in the notes of financial statement. So simply you can just read this provision. So who is a depositor? Let's do the definition of depositor, then we'll take a small break. Who is a depositor? Can you see this beautiful picture shown in the study material? A small tiny girl is putting the money in her bank account, in her piggy bank. So that means she's depositing money. So who can be such depositor who is giving certain kind of deposits, borrowings to the company? Let's assume this piggy bank is the company. So who can be the outsider? It can be a member of the company. So she herself is the member. It is her piggy bank. So she's the member of this company. She is putting money. Or it can be inviting the deposits from outside. Only a public company can go and do that. So there can be two type of depositors. There can be a member of public and private company, both have the members, and only in case of public company, you can have from public also. So deposits accepted from the member, section 73 is applicable, and for all the deposits accepted from the public, section 76 is applicable. So all these provisions we have to understand one by one. Any member of public and private company can deposit money, and in case of a depositor of public company, only a public and a public or member both can be available. All right. So let's take a small break here, children. Please go through all these 17 points that we have discussed in the definition, and then we'll proceed further and understand about the eligibility of the public company, section 73, and then we will do section 76. Let's take a small break here. So you all have answered the questions correctly. So that means definition of deposits is now clear. There are certain more questions, so you can go to the presentation and you can refer to these questions also. But as of now, we'll be moving ahead to the provisions. If time permits, we will cover all these questions also in class. All right, prohibition on acceptance of deposits from the public. So what does Section 73 tries to tell you? Section 73 subsection 1 simply explains you that you cannot invite, accept, or renew the deposits from the public except as the manner provided under this chapter. So it says there is a prohibition. You cannot just go to the public and ask for the deposits like you were going with the prospectus and asking for the public offer, issue of shares and all. Similarly, you cannot just go and ask the public for the deposits unless you're following Section 76. So Section 76 provisions have to be followed whenever you want to take the deposits from the public. This is what this line means. Provided nothing will apply to the banking company and non-banking financial institutions and to such other central government organizations after consultation with RBI has been specified. So it says banking companies' job is to take deposits and give loans to the customers. So the provisions of Companies Act Section 73 and 76 are not applicable to those places, okay? So it is not applicable, but otherwise, if you want to accept the deposits from the public, then you can do it as per Section 76. A company, by passing a resolution in the general meeting, shall comply with the following situations and conditions when it wants to accept the deposits from the members. So basically, Section 73 talks about the acceptance of deposit from members. So you can write it down in your study material. Section 73 talks about the conditions for the acceptance of deposits from the members. And Section 76 talks about conditions for the acceptance of deposits from the public. So public se paisa lena hai, Section 76. Members se if you're taking money, it is Section 73. Now, what is the first condition? It says first you will pass an OR, ordinary resolution will be passed in general meeting, then only you can accept the deposits from the members. And the certain conditions have to be followed. Number one is issuing of circular to its members. What is this circular? A circular in form DPT-1. I will show you DPT-1 form in a while. How does DPT-1 form looks? It includes the financial position of the company, what are the credit ratings obtained by the company, how many number of depositors are there, what is the amount deposited, how much amount we have taken, how much amount we are planning to take, who are the total number of depositors. All this kind of information is circulated in the circular which is issued in DPT-1. Would you like to see the form DPT-1? How does it looks like? I can show you the form GPT-1 also. Okay. So this is how a DPT-1 form looks like. It says the DPT-1 form, it is a circular in the form of advertisement for accepting, inviting deposits. This circular is in the form of an advertisement, general information, name, address, website, particulars of the company, all these kind of details is given. And the particulars of the deposit scheme, what is the date of passing the board resolution, whether you have passed the board resolution or not, you have to give a specific date on which this board resolution was passed, okay? And date of passing the resolution in the general meeting. So if your deposits are within the limits of Section 180, subsection 1, clause C, I will explain you this point. So then OR is passed, otherwise SR is required to be passed. So what kind of resolution you are passing, what is the date of resolution, whether it is a secured deposit, unsecured deposit, amount which we can raise by way of deposit. So what is the deposit? Everything has to be given on the last date of immediately preceding year, how many deposits are being held, what is the date of issue of circular, terms of raising the deposit, what will be the rate of interest, what will be the mode of payment, what is the proposed time schedule, credit ratings have you obtained or not. Credit rating means you're taking the ratings from the agencies that, okay, fine, this is a good company and they will be ready to pay the money. That means, remember, in LLP, you must have done the statement of solvency that you are a solvent company. You will not go into losses. You are ready to pay back the money of the depositors from whom you have taken. So these kind of credit ratings have to be taken from the credit rating agencies, and the means how it has been taken, the date on which the rating is taken, all the deposit insurance, all these kind of things are given, and details of the outstanding amount, amount of acceptance, financial position of the company, how is the balance sheet, how is the dividend declared, all these kind of information, and a declaration by the creditors that they have not defaulted in payment of direct payment of deposits. So it is a DPT-1 form. This is how it looks. It's a 5 pages form. All these forms are easily available on the MCA website also. So you can just go to the MCA website portal and you can just go through these kind of things so that you just have a general awareness and knowledge, since we are studying about these topics. So it is very important. So this is how your form DPT-1 looks like. And this is a kind of a circular in the form of advertisement, which is given inviting the deposits. See, it is written section 73 subsection 2 and section 76 complied with rule 4 of the companies. All right. A credit rating is a formal opinion that assesses the likelihoods. Very good, Khushbu. That's absolutely correct. These are used by the lenders and investors. So credit rating is something like that only. That is great. And also there are certain points related to credit ratings, which we'll be doing when we talk about the acceptance of deposits from the public. So you have seen how does DPT-1 form looks like. So this is a circular. All these details have to be included. Now, this circular will be issued to the members by registered post or electronic mode in DPT-1 form. When we say the acknowledgement by post means, that means they're going to acknowledge it that yes, we have received this, so that members are aware that they have received this invitation for the deposits. And again, in 2 newspapers, it can be published, English newspaper and vernacular newspaper. Vernacular means from the place where you are having the registered office. Say I'm in Gujarat. So whatever newspaper you are following in Gujarati over there, that newspaper, as well as in the English newspaper, the advertisement of the circular will be given. Then a certificate of the statutory auditor has to be attached in the DPT-1 form. Now, who is a statutory auditor? A statutory auditor is an auditor, independent auditor, who is coming from outside the organizations in order to see whether your financials have been prepared correctly, whether the company is doing everything fine. So they will give a statement that the company has not defaulted in repayment of deposits. Say, for example, ABC Limited is requesting for the deposits from its members, then they will be giving a circular. Circular will have all these details of DPT-1 form. Along with that DPT-1 form, a statutory auditor certificate will be attached, in which that statutory auditor, say, for example, from PwC are the statutory auditors of ABC Limited. So PwC will give a statement that this ABC Limited has not defaulted in any repayment of deposits and payment of interest. So whosoever member is receiving this certificate, they will know that ABC Limited is really good. It has been repaying the deposits in time. So I should give money to this company. Like the way you have taken the credit ratings, now you're taking the certification of the auditor also. And if any default has been made, how many years have passed since the default made? 5 years. So more than 5 years has happened when the company made a default. Say, for example, company made a default in 2020, in 2025, and it rectified the default in 2021. So by 2026, after that, 5 years have passed. Now, after 2026, the company can still take the deposits. All right. And the company is required to file this circular along with the statement of the auditor within 30 days before. So before you issue the circular, say, for example, the circular is going to be issued on 1st January. So 30 days prior to that. So by 2nd December, you should have filed it with the registrar. Okay, year before. So 1st January 24, you're filing it. So 2nd December 2023, you should have filed it with the registrar 30 days before you issue the circular. In the advertisement, prior to that, you should have filed it with the registrar. What is the date of validity of the circular? For how long the circular will remain valid? Can you tell me? Yes, Swati is an independent auditor performing the audit because he's an outside person who has come up. So within how many days? 6 months. Okay, what 6 months? So if you write such 6 months in the exam, examiner is also going to give you simple 0. So you have to explain what is the validity date. 6 months, up to the 6 months from the date of financial year in which, from the end of the financial year on which it was issued. Okay, so if the circular was issued and then 2023, 31st March 2023 was the end of the period. So 6 months from the end of the financial, so that means 30th September is somehow the date on which it will be noted. Okay, good, Swati. Yes, Abhishek Singh, that's correct. Or the date on which the financial statements are laid before AGM, or if no AGM is held, then the latest date. So, say for example, your AGM was to be held on 31st October. So, whichever date is earlier, 30th September or 31st October. So, 30th September will be the earliest date. So, if your AGM was to be held on 1st July and 6 months are 30th September, then which date will you take? 1st July or 30th September? Tell me, it will remain valid till which date? 30th September or 1st July if the AGM was to be held on 1st July. Divyanshi Garg, good answers you are giving, beta. Divyanshi Garg is also here with us. Yes, 1st July is the correct answer. Om Krishnam, Rishabh, Swati. Good. Abhishek Singh, good. What about others? Nice. So this is the validity of the circular. It will remain valid 6 months. Divyanshi Garg is saying 30th September. So Divyanshi, if your AGM is being held on 1st July, then you have to see whichever date is earlier. So 1st July will be the correct answer. Yes, Khushbu, that's correct. All right. So this validity of the date of the circular is very important, children. MCQ kind of questions can come on this. So please remember and learn it by heart. A fresh circular has to be issued in each financial year. So if I've issued the circular for 2023 in February, then for 2024, a fresh circular will be required because till 31st March 2023, the circular is valid. So for 23-24, a fresh circular will be required. That means you have to issue a new circular for every succeeding financial year for inviting the deposits. This filing has to be done within 30 days. Depositing such sums shall not be less than 15% of the amounts deposits and kept in a Reserve Bank of India. It should be 20%. So we will do all these details about the repayment and discussions about the security from the study material. Deposit insurance will also be taken. We will take a insurance of the deposit amount that tomorrow if I fail to repay the money or the security which has been given as a deposit, it gets destroyed, then insurance money will directly go to the banker from whom the deposits have been, from that company from whom the deposits have been taken. Providing any security for the due payment. So security which has been given shall always be more than the value of the loan that you have taken along with the interest payments. Where the company does not secure the deposits or secured it partially, then it will be treated as unsecured deposits. So now company took a deposit from its members, say 1 lakh rupees, and they said that I'm giving you 40,000 as security and balance 60,000, I'm not giving you anything. So it is partially secured, then this security will also be treated as unsecured. Or I have taken a loan of deposit of 1 lakh from the members and I've not given any security, then also it is unsecured. Now, whenever it is an unsecured deposit, then the word unsecured deposit shall be quoted in every circular advertisement in which you are inviting the deposits from the public. So this word unsecured has to be written. Yes, it shall be 20%, Rishabh Gupta, very right. Deposit repayment reserve, at least 20% of the amount maturing in the financial year, and also the amount which shall not fall below is also 20%. So I'll explain your 20% wala point, we will do it. But first, let's complete this clauses of A to E that we have discussed. So unsecured deposit is clear. Unsecured deposit, then you have to mention the word unsecured deposit in your circulars also. So all these point number A to E, that is a fresh circular to be issued, and this DPT1 has to be given statutory audit, validity of circular. These all provisions related to circular and auditor are not applicable to a certain type of private company. It says clauses A to E of section 73, subsection 2, with related to the circulars and filing of the circular with the registrar, depositing of certain money and the certificates of the auditor is not applicable to a private company. Which private company? Number one, a private company which is accepting the deposits from its members, not exceeding 100% of the aggregate of paid up capital, free reserves, and security premium account. Now, one important thing, beyond section 73, whenever we will be talking about the limits, it will always be the limit of paid up share capital, free reserves, and security premium account. So ये तो by heart learn कर ही लो in deposits chapter, PSC, FR, SPA. तो इसी की limits की बात होगी. So the limits which you are accepting from the members is less than 100% of the aggregate paid up share capital, free reserves, and security premium account. Or it is a startup company for first 5 years from the date of incorporation. So if there is a startup company and it is a private company, so first 5 years it is not required to issue the circular. So if I ask you, there is ABC Private Limited and it is inviting the deposits from the public, from the members, public plus the giants, private company. So if ABC Private Limited is accepting the deposits from its members, so do I need to issue a circular to my members in DPT1? If I'm a private company and I'm a startup and it has been just 5 years from the date of incorporation, do I need to issue the circulars DPT1? No, ma'am, because I fall under exemption only for the first 5 years. Excellent, Abhishek Singh. So from 6th year, it will have to issue. So only exemption for the startup companies for the first 5 years, you are not required to issue DPT1. Clear? And if I'm accepting the deposits from my members and I'm a private company and the limit is less than 100% of the paid up share capital, free reserves and security premium, then do I need to issue this DPT1? Yes or no? Do I need to issue DPT1? Then also no. Very good. Correct. Yes, Rishabh Gupta, absolutely correct. All intelligent students, Swati, Om Krishnam, good. Khushbu, Khushi, all of you are answering it correctly. Very proud of you, Bhumika. Nice. Sunil, you're not giving the answers, Sunil. Okay, correct. Everyone has answered it correctly. So now another private company which fulfill these three conditions, to them also this DPT1 provision is not applicable. Number one, this private company is neither an associate or subsidiary of any other company. And this company has not defaulted in repaying the borrowings related to deposits. And if the borrowings of such company from banks or financial institutions does not exceed twice of paid up share capital of 50 crore, whichever is less. So if I'm a private company and my paid up share capital is 1 crore, so twice of paid up share capital is 2 crores or 50 crore, whichever is less. So I have taken a loan of 1 crore, whichever is less is 2 crores. So if I have taken a loan of 50 lakhs, so I'm falling within the limit of this and I'm neither an associate or subsidiary of any other company and I have not defaulted, then I don't need to send the DPT1 form. Clear, children? Is the exemption clear to private company? Any doubts? Anyone wants to ask any doubts from this page, please feel free to ask. You can raise your hands. You can speak it out also. I will unmute you. You can ask. No doubts? Good. That means you're understanding it nicely. Okay. So if you don't have a doubt, I have a question for you. So if these companies, private companies, are not required to file DPT1, they are 5 years into incorporation, accepting deposits less than 100%, or they're falling in three categories of not an associate and less than the paid up share capital twice and 50 crore, whichever is less, and they've not defaulted. Do these companies, which are referred in clauses 1, 2, and 3, do they need to file the details in any other form? If yes, then what other form needs to be filed by these companies? Okay, Khushbu, we'll do that. Then in which other form do we need to? Any other form that these companies need to file? Very good, Swati. Om Krishnam. Yes, ma'am. DPT3. So DPT3 relates to all the annual returns related to the deposits that you have taken. That still needs to be filed by the private company. So I have a copy of DPT3 also with me. I will show you that copy also. Okay. Okay, Khushbu is asking, ma'am, DPT1, can you explain me? Khushbu, what you did not understand in DPT1, now listen it carefully. So whenever you're accepting the deposits from your members, you have to make an announcement for that. You have to tell them that members, we are going to accept the deposits from you. Now, how will you tell them? Do you write a personal letter to them? So law says you have to issue a circular. It is an advertisement, like when you were in school days, an announcement was made, a circular is issued, an ad is given or notice is given. Similarly, you're putting up a notice. So there you're not putting up a notice. There you were putting up a notice on your notice board in schools. But here you have to announce it to the entire members. So you will circulate a circular to our members. That circular is to be done in form DPT1. The name of that circular is DPT1, in which you will tell the financial position of the company, because member से आप पैसा ले रहे हो, member आपको तभी पैसा देगा ना अगर आपकी financial position अच्छी है, you are a strong company, you are not into losses, you have good profits, then only I will give you the money. So financial position has to be shown. Credit rating means that some outside agency will tell me that this ABC Limited, Harleen ma'am's company, is really doing good. This company never defaults in the repayment. किसी का पैसा वापस करने में गलती नहीं करना. Default means हम आप दूसरों का पैसा चुकाते हैं. So ऐसी रेटिंग मैंने ली हुई है किसी credit rating agency से. So financial position, credit rating agency, and all the number of deposits that I've taken, amount of deposits due, all these details will be circulated among the members. That is known as DPT-1 form. Khushbu, is that clear? Okay. Now, every deposit accepted under subsection 2 shall be repaid with interest. Okay. Yes, CRISIL is a credit rating agency. Yes, Abhishek Singh. All right, Khushbu. Great. So every deposit has to be repaid with interest. So it is very important that the amount of security that you're giving shall always be more than the repayment amount plus the interest. If the company fails to repay the depositor will go to whom? He will go to the tribunal for passing an order that whatever loss and damage I have suffered, please get my money. So if I'm a depositor, I'm a member of Reliance and I've given money to Reliance and circular was issued, certificate of auditor was given, everything was happened. Now I've given 50,000 rupees. Now Reliance fails to repay my deposit within the time period. So I can go to the tribunal, I can pass the order that Reliance shall pay me all the loss and damages that I have suffered because of this non-payment, and tribunal will pass those orders. Deposit repayment reserve has to be maintained, which shall not be used for any other purpose other than. So there is a deposit repayment reserve which will be created 20% of the amounts maturing following year. That amount shall be kept in the deposit repayment reserve. So say for example, there is an amount of 2 crores which will be maturing in the next financial year. So 2 crore ka 20% you will do. Around 40 lakhs will be coming up. So that 40 lakhs limit has to be deposited in the deposit repayment reserve. So once you're using this payment for the repayments of the deposit, that amount shall not go below the 20% of that current year deposits. So there are two limits of 20%. One, you have to deposit in this repayment reserve 20% of the amounts maturing. And when you use this, for say, there's the example, 10 crores of the amount has been deposited now. So now this amount, 10 crore, which you're using for the payment, that amount shall not go below 2 crores. So 20% of the amounts which are maturing during the 2 crore balance still has to be maintained even after the repaying of the deposits. Maximum deposits that can be taken. Now, this is very, very important. A company can take the maximum of the deposits. How much maximum deposit can be taken? Please tell me. A public company can take a maximum deposits from the public, from the members is 35% of the aggregate paid up capital, free reserves, and security premium account. However, if you are an IFSC public company, then you can take the deposits up till 100% of the aggregate paid up share capital, free reserves, and security premium account, provided the company will file the details in the DPP3 form. So for public company, you will make two headings, two arrows. If it is an eligible public company, 35% of the aggregate of paid up share capital, free reserves, and security premium. And if it is an IFSC public company, then 100% of the paid up share capital, free reserves, and security premium. All right. Now, what is the maximum limit of the deposits? Now it is talking about the private company. It says maximum limit will not be applicable to a private company. Which private company, children? A private company which is a startup for the period of 10 years. That company can feel free to accept n number of deposits. There is no provision for that. So private companies limit is 100% otherwise. Let me just tell you the exact limits. So you will, Devyanshi Gar, correct answers, 35% is the correct answer for the public company. Okay, let me just make you write it down, children, in the notes also. So you can write it down. If it is a public company, then two categories. A normal public company, 35% of the paid up share capital, free reserves, and security premium. If it is specified IFSC public company, then it is 100% limit. Very good. 100% of the limit. And in case of private company, in private company, there are two limits. When it is a startup company, for 10 years and 3 conditions to be fulfilled. Same 3 conditions. Associated is not an associate or subsidiary. The borrowing does not exceed the twice of the paid up share capital of 50 crore, whichever is less. And if this private company has not defaulted in the repayment of deposits. So there was another condition. This exemption was given to the companies that they don't have to file DPT-1. Similarly, same companies, there is no limit also for the no limit. No limit means they can borrow deposits up to any amount, 200%, 300%, whatever they want to borrow, or 1%, 2%, whatever they want to borrow. There is no limit on these private companies, those which fulfill all 3 conditions. And other private companies, 100% is the limit. Other private companies, 100% is the limit. So IFSC public company and other private company 100%, eligible public company 25%, and these are the exempted companies in which no limit has been given. A private company for 10 years which is into startup from its incorporation. Rishabh Gupta, for private companies it is 100% limit. For other private companies 35% is specifically for the public companies. You can read it out. Maximum deposits which can be taken, including the deposits, shall not be more than 35% of the aggregate paid up capital, free reserves, and security premium. Okay, a specified public company and a private company. Read down this exception, which is written underneath. A specified public company and a private company which is accepting the deposits from members shall not exceed 100% of the paid up share capital. So here the limit is 100%. Okay, provided DPT3 has been given, and all these private companies which are following these conditions and it is a startup for 10 years, again, the no limit has been set up for them, but DPT3 has to be given. So in 4 categories you have to divide. So here I have divided in front of you. Normal companies, 35%, 100% the limit for private companies and specified IFSC company. No limits for, so you can copy down this limits. No limits for the startup which are less than 10 years and private company which satisfy 3 conditions. What are those 3 conditions? Can you please write it down in the chat box for me? What are the 3 conditions that the private company needs to satisfy if it does not want to issue the DPT1 or it does not want to give the limits to the eligibility for the deposits? Write down this chart in your notebooks, or you can just mention it anywhere in your summary in your study material. And then give me the 3 conditions that need to be satisfied in the chat box. All of you have to write it down. Good, Om Krishnam. Bhumika has just given 1 condition. Rest 2, ma'am, you can choose. Huh? Swati, good. So not a subsidiary or associate, Om Krishnam, both the conditions. Not defaulted. Borrowing shall be less than the paid up twice of the paid up share capital of 50 crore, whichever is less. Okay. Good. All of you have given the correct condition. So you have to remember these 3 conditions in order to claim the exemption for a private company. Any doubts till here? Anyone wants to ask anything? No questions? Very good. That means you have understood nicely. Let me just open up the study material also for all of you. So here is a question in front of you. Ray Pharmaceuticals Limited issued a circular inviting the members on 14th February. AGM was held on 7th September. 6 months from the closure of financial year is 30th September. So the circular will be valid on which date? It says circular was issued on 14th February. It shall remain valid on 6 months from the date of closure, that is 30th September, or the date on which the AGM is held, or the date of which the AGM was supposed to be held. So AGM was held on 7th September, 30th September, whichever is earlier. So 7th September will be the remaining date for the validity. Means now you can take the borrowings only till 7th September, not beyond that. For beyond that, a fresh circular will be required to be issued. And within how many days the circular shall be? Within how many days the circular shall be filed with the registrar? Within 30 days before or after the issue of circular? Is it before or is it after the issue of circular? 30 days before the issue of circular, it shall be filed with ROC. Very good. Lovely answers. Now let's talk about depository payment reserve. So every company is required to deposit on or before 30th April at least 20% of the amount of deposits maturing. So whatever amount is maturing in the following financial year, 20% of that shall be deposited, so that you're creating a reserve, you're maintaining a balance in a reserve, that so that tomorrow it should not be that the company does not have money to repay back. So that 20% provision has to be maintained so that the company shall always have liquid assets. So it has written, as per the liquid assets and creation of deposits account, every company shall refer to section 73, and every eligible company on or before 30th April, 20% amount has to be deposited. Provided remaining deposited amount shall not fall below 20% of the amounts maturing during the financial year. So 20% of the following financial year is the amount deposited in the repayment reserve, and 20% of the deposits maturing during this year, the amount that is the minimum balance to be maintained. Okay. Certification of no default. What was the certification? Statutory auditor will get the certification that 5 years have passed before this company made a default. So this was the exemption of private company, which we have just discussed. Provision of security also we have done. Application to NCLT we have done. Utilizing of the security payment amount. Tenure for the deposits. This is something which we were supposed to do. What is the meaning of tenure for which the deposits can be accepted? What do you mean by this? Can I accept the deposits for lifetime? Or there is certain time period for which the deposits shall be accepted? Can I accept the deposits for only 2 months, 3 months, 6 months? What is the time? So it says minimum the deposits shall be taken for 6 months time period, and maximum period shall not exceed 36 months. Means you cannot say that I will repay your money in after 48 months. No. Maximum 36 months means maximum 3 years. After 3 years, the deposits shall be repaid, and the minimum time for which the deposits can be taken is 6 months. Yes, Rishabh Gupta, 3 months exemption with certain conditions. Very nice. Okay, others have also written. Bhumika has also written this one. Khushbu has also written this one. Nice, nice, nice. Swati, good. All of you, great. So it says the company cannot accept the deposits for less than 6 months and not more than 36 months. But it can take the deposits for less than 6 months, but it will not be less than 3 months, only if you're taking the deposits up till 10% of the aggregate paid up share capital, and the deposits are taken to be repaid after 3 months. So sometimes there is a short-term requirement of the funds. So if the company ABC Limited and it just needs funds for short while. So it has taken 10% of the paid up share capital free reserve and security payment account from its members, then 3 months time period it will repay. So if the limit is less than 10% and you're ready to repay 3 months, so then you can take the deposits for less than 6 months period also. So otherwise 6 months to 60 months, Arpit, a member of Swapnil Traders Private Limited, deposited 1 lakh. So member hai company ka, he is giving 1 lakh to the company. Earliest repayment date shall be 30th September and the latest, so 1st April, May, June, July, August, September. 6 months shall be done, and maximum period that will be allowed is 3 years. 1st April, 24, 25, 26, 27. 36 months, that is 31st March to 2027, it shall be repaid. The tenure will range between this time period as per the policy of the company. And if Swapnil wanted money less than 3 months, then what will be the condition? Only if the aggregate paid up share capital free reserves and security payment account, 10% of the amount of this has been taken as a deposit as a short-term requirement, and the amount is to be repaid in 3 months, then the less than 6 months time period can be allowed. Okay. Now, continuing with the same example, let's assume the aggregate of the paid up share capital and free reserves and security premium is 2 crores. In order to meet the short-term requirement, it can raise deposits maximum of 20 lakh, that is 10%. Then the tenure can be less than 6 months, that is this tenure, but it can never go less than 3 months. So can we say that the member who has given the deposits can ask for the repayment in 2 months? Yes or no? Even if it is 10% limit is being met, can we ask for the repayment in 2 months? No, ma'am. Yes, good. Abhishek, Rishabh, Bhumika, Om Krishnam, Swati, correct answers. Very good, very good. So maximum amount of deposits also we have discussed, children. We have done this in detail from my notes and also have told you about these points. So maximum minimum tenure also done. Appointment of trustee. Do we need to appoint a trustee for a deposited money? What is DPT 3 first? All the companies accepting the deposits shall file the amount so deposited with the registrar in DPT3. You want to see what is DPT3? DPT3 form you want to see now. Okay. Deposits. DPT3 form is basically, children, about all the returns that we need to file with the deposits. Return of deposits. You're telling the now that this is my return, this is the annual return that the company has to file DPT3 form as per Rule 16 of the company's deposit rules, that this is my SIN number, this is my GLN number, now I'm the name of the company, here is my registered address, whether you're a public or private company. Every company which is accepting the deposits from its members or public has to file DPT3, a return of the deposits. So whether the company is a government company or not, what are the objects of the company? You are into which kind of business? When did you issue the circular? What was the last date of accounts? Expiry of the circular. When did it expire? What is the expiry date? Either the 36 months from the date of closure of financial year or the date of AGM, whichever is earlier. Net worth. What is your net worth? So I'm going to tell you what is an eligible public company. There you will understand this net worth is important. What is your net worth as per the paid up share capital free reserves? What are the accumulated losses? And how do you calculate the net worth, children? Can you just figure out this? Somewhere you have done this definition in the chapter of preliminary. Remember, chapter number 1, there you have discussed about this definition. So they have given you this definition over here. See, when you open such kind of forms, don't you feel confident that this is something which we have actually studied in the books? And this is what is being circulated among the companies. So net worth is your paid up share capital free reserves and minus accumulated losses and all these balance that you have transferred to the deferred revenue expenditure, unprovided depreciation and all these details. Maximum deposits. Okay, so maximum deposits can be 35% and in case of government companies and 25% in other cases. This is what I'm going to explain you in a short while. 35% limit you all know, 100% limit you all know, 25% is something new for you that I will take. Deposits to be furnished, amount of existing deposits, how many deposits you have got renewed, secured or unsecured deposits, repaid during the period. So this is your schedule that you have to give, how many outstanding deposits, how many are being repaid, how many have been matured. All these kind of things has to be given in the DPT3 form. The insurance contract. Why do we take deposit insurance? So I have given you a bike as a security. Tomorrow, if that bike is met with an accident, how will the bank recover their money? So say, for example, I took money from a bank and as a security, I've given them a bike. So I have to give all the insurance also. So hypothecation is created in favor of the bank that tomorrow, if any damage happened to the security, whatever the insurance claim was to be received by the owner, that will directly go to that bank who has given a loan on the basis of that security. So that's why this deposit insurance contract has to be given. Who is it? What is the name of insurance? How many premium has been paid? So that everyone knows that actually the company has got this insurance. Particulars of the charges, trust deed and all these points. And these are the attachments to be attached with it. Copy of creating a charge. We will understand about this in chapter number 6, registration of charges. Auditor's certificate. What was the auditor's certificate telling us? Tell me, students, fatafat se. DPT3 should be filed every year. And yes, Abhishek Singh, it has to be filed every year in which you have taken the deposits. We will talk about DPT3 in detail also. Auditor's certificate. What is the auditor's certificate telling me? Auditor's certificate will tell us that company has not defaulted in repayment of deposits. And even if it has defaulted, you have to write 4 lines now. Even if it has defaulted, 5 years have passed after the company has corrected that default. Excellent. All of you have given the correct answer. Insurance contract, trust deeds, the registration charges, and the name and address of depositors. Although nobody is going to ask you about the contents of DPT3 form, but I'm sure that by seeing the form, you would have felt more confident because each and every word that was written in that return of deposit forms was somehow related to you. You have read about it in the study material, in your notes. You are studying those things and you're actually visualizing also how the actual practical forms are related. Okay, children? All right. So now let's go to the definition of eligible company. Who is an eligible company? Eligible company means a public company given under section 76 having a net worth of not less than 100 crore or turnover of not less than 500 crores. So if your net worth is 100 crores and your turnover is 500 crores, then only you become the eligible public company. Has to take a prior consent by passing an SR that we are going to. Only the eligible public company is allowed to accept the deposits from the members. So if you are an eligible public company, you're an eligible company only if you have the net worth of minimum 100 crores and a turnover of minimum 500 crores. You have taken a consent by passing SR in your general meeting. Why do we need to pass SR? Why it is saying SR? I told you OR. Why it is talking about SR? Please tell me. Again, question for all of you. Eligible company is accepting the deposits and it is passing an SR. Why do we need to pass an SR? This is the correct one. Public deposit, Abhishek Singh is saying because we are accepting public deposits. Okay. Yes, Om Krishnam Gupta. A round of applause for you, ma'am, because we are exceeding the limit of 180 subsection 1, subsection C. Very good. Rishabh Gupta, excellent, because it's over the limit. So only if we are borrowing beyond the limit of section 180, subsection 1, subsection C, then we have to pass a special resolution, means 75% of the shareholders' consent is required. And if we are not exceeding this limit, if it is for accepting the deposits within the limit, then what do we need to pass? OR or SR? If we are accepting the deposits from the public within the limit of section 180, subsection 1, then we have to pass and OR. Very good, Bhumika, Swati, Om Krishnam. Everyone has given the correct answers. If we are accepting within the limits, then OR is required. If we are accepting the beyond the limits, then SR needs to be passed. What is OR and what is SR? MGT chapter you did with me only. Tell me, hurry up. What is OR and what is SR? Very good, Khushbu. SR requires a higher percentage of shareholders' votes. Higher percentage means 3 times of the more person. So it is 75%. Om Krishnam, very good. Or resolution, 50% of the shareholders have said yes. Then also the things. More than 50%. Majority of the shareholders. So more than 50% for OR and 75% and more for SR. Good, Swati. Great students. So these provisions are eligible companies. First of all, public company, net worth 100 crore, minimum turnover 500 crores, prior consent by SR or OR, depending upon the case. This SR has to be filed with the ROC and ordinary resolution if it is within the limits of 180 subsection 1, subsection C. Clear? Any doubts in the definition of eligible public company? Any doubts in that? Okay, good. Nobody says that. No, ma'am. No doubts. So thank you for confirming. Let's proceed ahead. Provisions for the deposits from the public. Now we're going to take the deposits from public. Which section is applicable? Ma'am, now we will be talking about section 76. Replicate of section 73. Nothing new. Only few things will be changing. Okay, good, Bhumika and Om Krishnam. I'm glad you all are enjoying the session. So that is what is important. Along with that, a good revision should also be happening. Okay. Only eligible companies can accept the deposits from the public in addition to its members. Yes, ma'am, we understood. Only eligible companies and eligible public companies. Private companies ko to hai nahi allowed public se lena. Net worth and turnover criteria. So what is the criteria for net worth? 100 crores and turnover is 5 criteria. SR, OR, we have understood. SR if it is beyond the limit, OR if it is within the limit. Obtaining a credit rating. Eligible company shall obtain a credit rating, ensuring that the adequate safety shall be informed to the public at the time of taking the deposits. And this credit rating is required every year during the tenure of deposits. So you have to give a surety. Now you're giving the deposits, asking for the deposits from the public. Do we need to send DPT circular 1 to all the public? So many of people who have invested in the company, will you keep sending the circulars to all of them? No, ma'am, no requirement of DPT 1 in section 76. Here you're simply going to give the advertisement in the newspapers and everybody will, whosoever is interested can give the deposits. Along with that, you need to ensure a credit rating has to be taken, a strong credit rating that this is a good company, the adequate safety has been given. That please go and invest in this company, you can give the deposits. Yes, only advertisement. Very good, Abhishek Singh. Only advertisement will be given and credit rating has to be taken so that the public is ensured that their money will not go here and there and their money will be repaid on time. Maximum amount of deposits for an eligible government company. Now, please pay attention. So maximum deposits, a company which is permitted to deposits together with the amount outstanding up to 35% of the aggregate paid up share capital. So for a government company, it is eligible. Government company, it is 35%. Any other company, it is 25% is the limit and 10% from the members. So eligible company can accept the deposit from the members. Any amount outstanding on the date shall be maximum 10% of the aggregate paid up share capital, free reserve and security premium account. And from outside, excluding the members, it can take 25%. So how we have to remember, ma'am? For Section 76 provision, if it is a government company, 35% wala limit. Any other company, 2 slabs. From members, 10%, and from outsiders, 25%. Of what? Of what are we talking? These percentages of what? You tell me. 35% of dash, 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 20% of dash, dash. It's just common, same thing. Paid up share capital, free reserves, security premium account. All, everywhere you have to use the same. There was one more exemption where we have spoken about this 10% limit. Can anyone remind me where was this limit of 10% spoken about? Where I told you that if your balance is 10%, then what was required to be done or what not was required to be done? It was about the limit of 10% was spoken about in the tenure of 3 months. Yes, good. Correct answers given. Issue of circular in the form of advertisement. Whenever you're asking for the deposits from the public, you have to issue the advertisement in the newspaper. It will be given in the English and vernacular newspaper. Both the newspapers should have wide circulation in the state in which the RO is situated. And if the company has a website, then also place it on the website. Okay, this advertisement will be issued on the authority and in the name of board of directors of the company. It will be coming out with the, at the name of board of directors of the company. Again, within 30 days, filing has to be done with the ROC. Validity of the advertisement. The validity of the advertisement is also same. 6 months from the close of financial year and date on which the AGM was to be held. A fresh advertisement, like a fresh circular was to be issued over there. Here also, fresh advertisement has to be given for every succeeding financial year. The date on which the advertisement appeared in the newspaper shall be taken as the date of the issue of advertisement. So if your newspaper has shown the advertisement on 10th January, so 30 days prior to that, it should have been filed with the ROC. And validity will be again same 6 months and date. So this date on which the advertisement will be taken as the date of issue of advertisement. Effective date of circular shall be on the date on which the circular was dispatched. So when we were talking about the circular, taking the deposits from members, the date on which the circular was dispatched, that will be taken as the date of issue of circular. And in case of Section 76, the date on which the advertisement is given in the newspaper, that will be the date which will be considered as the date of issue of advertisement. Again, same amounts of 20% provision shall be maintained and the amount deposited shall not be used for any other purposes. Can I use the amount of deposit repayment reserve account for allotment of securities or for redemption of debentures or redemption of preference shares? Can I use this amount? No, ma'am. This amount shall only be used for the repayment of deposits and interest. Can this amount go below? What is the limit? Can anyone tell me? How much amount shall be deposited in the deposit repayment reserve account? 20% of what? 20% of the amounts maturing following year. And what is the minimum balance to be maintained? 20% of the amount maturing in the current year. Rishabh, Swati, and Bhumika are the first one who answers everything. Yes, Abhishek Singh, wonderful. Okay. Tenure of the deposits is also the same in case of Section 7. So common points of deposits under Section 73 and 76. You can read down the heading. Same points have been given. It shall not be less than 6 months, not more than 36 months. If it is less than 6 months, then again 3 months provision has to be seen. Where only 10% of the paid up share capital, free reserves, and security premium account has been taken. The charge for creation on assets. How is the charge created? If the deposits are secured, then within 30 days of the acceptance, a charge shall be created, and this charge will be created in favor of the, as per the rules which I have to follow, the total value of security. If I have given the amount of loan which I have taken is 1 crore, can I give the value of security equivalent to 90 lakh rupees? Yes or no? No, ma'am. Okay. Then what should be the value? It shall be more than 1 crore plus the repayment of interest shall also be included. And who will do this valuation? Who will do the valuation of security which is to be given for the deposits? Registered valuer. It has not to be done by the company. A valuer will do the valuation. Very good. And can I give the intangible assets like goodwill and patents as a security? Very good. No, ma'am. Company accepting secured deposits shall always create a security by way of tangible assets. This is what is written under rule number 6. Now let's talk about the appointment of trustee for depositors. Do you think a trustee is appointed? Who is a trustee? Yes, Rishabh Gupta, it shall also be informed in the form of advertisements. Abhishek Singh and Khushbu are correct. No, ma'am, no intangible assets. Only tangible assets are to be used for the secured deposits. Who is a trustee, children? You have done the chapter of debentures with me. You have understood who is a debenture trustee. There also we were appointing a debenture trustee who will take care of my security. Here also a deposit trustee is appointed, who is going, an independent person who is going to make sure that my security is being taken care of. So one or more trustees will be appointed by the company which is creating a security. Written consent will be taken from these trustees. A statement will appear in the advertisement that these trustees have given the consent to be appointed. And how the deposit trust deed is to be used. Now, children, in this chapter number 5 and 6, there are very few forms. In registration, we'll be learning about CHT 1, 2, 3. I will be explaining you all the points when we have that class. And here we have just spoken about 3 forms, DPT 1, 2, and 3. So when you have lesser number of forms, try to learn them, please. MGT also, we have learned very well all those forms. So please try to learn all these forms. MCQ questions can come related to these kind of Companies Act forms, okay? So which the form is to be made for the trust deed? Which form will be used? DPT 1 was for the, yes, he's the person appointed to take care of your transactions, trustee who take the benefits, good. So DPT 1 was for the circular, DPT 3 was for the return, and Abhishek, Rishabh, Khushi, all of you are correct. For the debenture deposit trustee deed, we make the DPT 2 form. What is the meaning of DPT forms? Where we are talking about deposits, that DPT form is used. We're talking about the chapter of management and administration, MGT form is used. So whatever is the name of the chapter, that abbreviation has been taken for the forms. So the deposit trustee is appointed, written consent is taken from him, and this newspaper advertisement will appear that this person is going to act as my deposit trustee. And this form shall be Form DPT 2. How many days before it shall be issued with the ROC? The shall be issued before issuing the circular in the form of the, so this DPT 2 form has to be executed within how many days? It shall be issued within 7 days before issuing the circular. So 7 days before issuing the circular in the form of advertisement, this DPT 2 shall be executed, means you have to find a trustee within at least 7 days before this trustee should have been made. No person, including a company that is in business, shall be appointed. So no person, including a company that is in the business of providing trusteeship, shall be appointed for the depositor if the proposed trustee is the following. So now it is going to tell you, like we did in the exemptions in case of a debenture trustee, similar terms of exemptions are given for the deposit trustee. Okay. So the person shall not be a director or key managerial personnel or other employee or officer of the company, of holding or associate or depositor of the company. So if you are a director of the company, can you be appointed as a trustee? No, ma'am. If you're a key managerial personnel or any other officer or relative of these kind of people, can you be appointed as the trustee of the deposit trustee? No, ma'am, you cannot. If you are indebted to the company, means you've already given certain amount of loan to the company or to your associate and subsidiary. Can you be appointed as the trustee? No, ma'am, you cannot be. So this is the negative list of people who cannot be appointed as the deposit trustee. Number 1, you should not be a director, key managerial person, or any other officer or employee of the company, either of the company or its holding and subsidiary company. And point number E, you should not be a relative of these kind of people also. Point number B, you should have not been indebted, means you should have not lended money to the company or its subsidiary if you want to be appointed as the deposit trustee. Point number C says it should not have any material pecuniary relationship. What is the meaning of pecuniary relationship? Means money related relationship. You should not have lended money to the company. and you have not given any guarantee of the payment. Okay. So the consent of all the directors present at the meeting has to be taken. If the company is required to have independent director, then one independent director should also be present. So if you want to remove the trustee, say for example, Mr. C was appointed as the trustee to take care of the security, which one of the member, Mr. D, has lent to the company. So now shareholders want to remove Mr. C as the trustee. So consent of all the directors present at the meeting has to be taken. So if the 10 directors are present and only 9 directors have given their consent, can you remove this trustee, Mr. C? Absolutely correct answer. No, ma'am, because all the consent of all the directors means 10 directors will have to say yes, then only he can be removed. And if a company is having independent directors, then one independent director should also be present in this meeting. Meeting of depositors to be called by the trustee. So trustee will be calling the meeting of the depositors on his own. If 1/10 of the members have requested him and the requisition, or if any default has happened, then on his own. So suo moto also he can call the meeting of the trustees or on the request of the 1/10 of the depositors in value. Register of deposits. Again, you have to maintain a register of deposits, including all the name, address of the PAN number, persons who guardian, particulars of the nominee. All these details have to be entered in the register. Every company have to maintain one or more registers for the deposits which have to be taken at the RO office. So this is all your admin related work. You have taken the deposits from the members, you taken deposits from the public. Obviously, you have to maintain a record of it. So one or more registers will be maintained in which each and every detail related to how much amount is to be repaid, what is the repayment schedule, how much interest has to be repaid, how much tax has been deducted at source, and all these details will be entered in the register of deposits. And within 7 days of the issue of the receipt, the entries shall be made in the register and it shall be kept in a good order for a period not less than 8 weeks. So whenever we talk about registers, there are only two registers, which are register of members and foreign registers, and also under incorporation that has to be maintained for a longer period. Otherwise, general provision is the registers have to be maintained for a period not less than 8 years. So maximum of 8 years, the registers have to be maintained. Premature deposits, if the deposits are maturing premature, they should not be less than 3 months time period. We have already done it. A reduction on the rate of interest is not applicable. Where the deposit is rematured, you cannot reduce the amount of interest. It says that these deposits are not repayable on demand. You cannot say that I have given you the money, you repay me it back whenever the demand comes. So there is a certain time period, tenure, which has to be followed, for which the term that you have to follow, for which the deposits have to be kept over there with the company. Is that clear, children? Now only two small sections are left and also few questions I want to do with you. So let's take a small break over here. And if you have any questions, you can ask me. And otherwise, after the break, when we conclude the chapter, you can ask the questions. Let's take a small break here. Students, let's finish it off, the syllabus, and then we'll go through certain questions also. So yes, Som Krishnam, Khushbu and Rishabh I have read, no doubts. So that's great. That means you have understood everything. That's wonderful. So now let's hurriedly complete the chapter. We're just left with few. Okay, Khushbu. And Divyanshi also is with us over here. She's also answering everything correctly. Divyanshi Garg, if you have any doubts, you can send it. So now I'm going to take you in the module also so that we can do certain questions. There are certain points which we can cover relating to the rate of interest and brokerage, few last points. So DPT3 form, I have told you, appointment of the trustee. Appointment of trustee for the depositors, trustee to call for the meeting. Yes. So when can the trustee call the meetings? If you have received the request of 1/10 of the depositors requisition, or if it is on the happening of certain events, means the trustee feels that you're not repaying the deposit, then they can call the meeting of the depositors. Ceiling on the rate of interest. So what is the ceiling? Ceiling means the rate which cannot go beyond the limit. So there is a rate fixed, that is whatever the RBI is offering to the NBFCs, that rate, maximum rate of interest and brokerage which can be used for deposits is the rate fixed by the RBI, which they're giving to the NBFCs. Okay. Filing of the application form. Application form has to be filed for making the deposits. That is very simple. And if you have taken the deposits in joint names, you remember whenever it is of joint names, whenever the person as per the seniority is given the favor. But if you have taken the deposits, say for example, joint names deposits has been given. So how many can be the total people who have given as the joint names? 5, 6 or 3? You have to tell me. If the depositors want that the deposits can be accepted by the company in the joint names, how many joint holders can be there? 2, 3 or 4? Abhishek, Om Krishnam, correct. Swati, correct. So they can be maximum 3. Okay, so joint names not exceeding 3 means maximum of 3 people can jointly give the deposits. So joint can be accepted with the following things, that is jointly or either or the survivor first name or survivor, means these can, any kind of the clause can be written when you are taking the deposits in the joint names. And MCQ question can come, how many joint names? Or not more than 3. So the, for example, ABC3 are jointly depositing 3 lakhs. So it is word jointly is written. So the repayment shall be made to all of them together. Either or survivor means whosoever is surviving, or the survivor means whosoever is alive at that time when the deposits are being repaid. In case of the first name means the person A will be given the first name. Anyone of the survivor means either of the persons or survivor can be given the money at the time of repayment. Nomination, you can also give the nominee of the person to whom the deposit shall be given in case of the death of the depositor. Deposit receipt will be within 21 days of receiving the money. Now, this is important. Within 21 days, the company is required to furnish the deposit receipt. So, within how many days the deposit receipt has to be furnished? Within 21 days. Register of deposits we have done. Premature deposits, again, the same provisions which are given under the deposits of the public. We will read it from there. Filing of return. This is what I wanted to show you. So DPT3 is written about here. Every filing on 31st March of the year has to be done. And within an audited return of deposits has to be filed along with the statement from the auditors that everything written in DPT3 form is correct. So we have seen the DPT3 form also, and it shall be filed on or before 30th June of that year. Okay. So within 3 months, it has to be filed with the ROC along with the copy of the auditor's report. No alteration, once you have given the deposits, no alteration can be made in the terms and conditions of the deposits. And how will you disclose the deposits in the financial statements, children? You will disclose it in the form of note. A public company will give a note that whatever money they have received from the directors, and private company will give 2 notes, when the money received from the directors or its relatives also. Penal interest, if any default is made, how much penal interest will be charged, children? If you have made any default in the repayment of interest, what will be the penalty interest charge at the rate of 18% per annum for the overdue amount? 18% per annum is important. Mark kar lena, penal rate of interest is important. And what will be the punishment for accepting the deposits? If any punishment has happened, 5,000 rupees per fine and 500 plus the contravention for 500 per day for every day during which the default continues. Now let us see Fatapat says section 76 is just to replicate. We have done this, all these points we have done from the study material also. The depositor trustee is appointed, maximum eligibility 35%. You have understood if it is a government company 35%, otherwise 25 and 10% is the provision. Filing with the ROC has to be done, sealing on the rate of interest. See, all the same points. So whatever we have understood in section 73, everything has been written under section 76 also. And the entries to be made within 7 days. I told you within 7 days. If you will refer to provisions of debentures, there was a different thing when registers to be entry to be made. It was, I think, 60 days after allotment of debentures. But here, even before issuing the circular, within 7 days before that, you have to make this entries in the register. Premature of deposit. This is something new which we have not spoken about. It says after the expiry of 6 months before the actual date of maturity, if you request for the premature deposit, then what will happen? Then the rate of interest that was to be charged will be 1% less than the rate actually to be. So let's assume ABC Limited has taken the deposits for 3 years. So first rate was 5%, 6%, and 7% of the rate of interest. So now 6 months before, you cannot premature. 3 months condition we have done separately, that you have understood very well. Now we are talking about the penal rate of interest along with how the rate of interest will be affected if you are prematuring the deposit. So for example, say you said that, okay, fine, after 6 months, I want my money in 10 months time. So that means less than 1 year period you're taking. Actually, the time period was 3 years maximum. But now premature deposits, you're in need of money and you have requested that I want money from the company back. So what was the rate of interest? 5%. Now what will be the rate of interest that you'll be getting? 1% less than the 5% rate. So you have taken the money before that 1 year. In the first year, you were getting 5%. Now you will get 4%. Is that clear? So whatever maturity amount you're getting, the rate of interest 1% less reduce ho jayega usme se. The period for which the deposit it contains any part which is less than 6 months shall be excluded. What is the meaning of this line? So for 8 months you have taken your money back. So one lesser than 1 year you took 5%. So any period which is less than 6 months will be 0 and 6 months and more will be considered as full year. So if I have taken back the money after 2 years, 3 months. So the rate of interest of second year will be applicable because 3 months means less than the year. Or if I have taken the money after 2 years, 8 months, then the rate of interest of second year or third year will be charged. Tell me. Abhishek Singh, if company repaid within the time period, then this normal scenario of repayment of interest and everything will be followed. Here we are talking about prematurity of the deposits. So I'm asking you if yes, Bhumika, excellent. 3 years, Abhishek Singh, correct. So if I have asked for the premature of 1 year, 1 month, then the rate of interest will be the first year or second year? Then it will be only the first year because no Om Krishnam, not second year, because minimum 6 months time period has to be concluded. Like when you round off the figure in decimals, if it is 0.5, more than 0.5, you round off to the next number. If it is less than 0.5, then you round off to the lower number. Similarly, if it is more than 6 months, you round off to the next year. And if it is less than 6 months, you round off to the previous year. And the rate of interest, whatever is the rate of interest, 1% has to be reduced. That is the rate of interest that you will be getting. ठीक हो गया. Now, point number 19 says if you want the deposits for the higher rate of interest. So you are saying that, okay, I have taken one deposit till 2018, which is at 11%. I want, and another deposit till 2019 is of 20%. I want to shift my deposit from 11 to 20%. So now for that shifting for the higher rate of interest, you have to see what is the time period which is left. Only if the time period balance is longer than the unexpired period, then only you can shift for the higher rate of interest. Just as a matter of concern, you can read these points. Never a question has come from such points, but since it is given in the study material, I make sure you go through all these points. DPT3 form is exactly the same that we have done. Disclosure, penal rate of interest 18%. You can see word to word, each and every word. Section 73 and 76 is a replicated words. Okay? Now, last section, punishment for contravention. Also, you can simply read it. The main punishment is 25 lakh rupees, which can extend to 2 crore rupees, and 7 years jail can happen if any officer is found in default or in accepting the deposits from the company. And if any fraudulent activity is being conducted, children, very severe action of 447 can also be taken. Now, section 74 is nothing. It simply tells you that any deposits which were taken before the commencement of Companies Act. So before the commencement of Companies Act means before 1st April 2014, if any deposits were taken, then you need, now I'll show you from my notes because I have simplified it over there. So these are the points of your punishment. We have already referred. So if any deposits were taken and the repayment were to be made under Section 74, that is deposits accepted before 1st April 2014, then within 3 months time period, you have to file a statement with the registrar that all the deposits and the sums remaining, and they shall be repaid within 3 years from the commencement of the act. So why 3 years? Because maximum 36 months we take the deposit. So whichever is earlier, 3 years or the expiry for which the deposits were accepted, whichever is earlier, they shall be repaid, and you have to file a statement with the ROC within 3 months. So it says, otherwise the Companies Act 2013 begin, then we are following Section 73 and 76, but any deposits which were taken before the commencement of this act, means before 1st April 2014, then you have to tell the ROC within the period of 3 months that these are the deposits that we have taken, and within 3 years or the time which has been given for the repayment, whichever is earlier, they shall be repaid. Abhishek Singh, if you ask me truly, this section is not actually very relevant. He's asking, is this section relevant now? So since 3 years have already passed from 1st April 2014, if we talk about maximum by 2018, these deposits would have been repaid. So actually, it is not that relevant, but since the provision has been given in the study material, it is part of the Companies Act. So we should know about it. All right. So extension of time period by the tribunal, you can file an extension also for the tribunal, and again, the penalty is given over here. So now if you have any doubts, you can ask me, because the chapter is over, but there are certain questions which we can quickly do as a revision part. Anyone wants to ask anything, feel free to raise your hands and speak out to me. And if you have no doubts, you can write down in the chat box that you don't have any doubts. And I hope you enjoyed the session. You had a quick revision, is it? All right. So since no doubts, and thank you so much since you have enjoyed the session, can you explain one time more the definition, Khushbu is saying? Okay, Khushbu, the definition of deposit simply tells you that there are deposit means any receipt of money. कोई भी पैसा कंपनी को मिला जो कि borrowing है, वो deposit है. But उसमें 17 ऐसी items दी गई हैं Rule 2 में जो कि deposit नहीं है. उनमें से, let us have a quick revision. She wants me to take the definition of deposits again. Out of those, the first 3 we have learned is related to the government, Indian government, foreign government, and any banking financial institutions you're taking money, it is not deposit. For commercial paper you're issuing and taking deposits, it is not deposit. Share application money to be allotted security in 60 days or return the money in 15 days. If you have not done that, then 76 days se wo deposit ho jayega. Intercompany loans, it is not a deposit. Any amount taken from a director, you need to declaration. One, that money was from their own funds. It is not a borrowed funds, and you disclose it in the board's report. It will not be deposited. For a private company, money taken from a director or relative, same conditions. For the bonds and debentures, 3 points. If it is a secured bond and debenture by pari passu rank for first charge, it is not a deposit. If it is a convertible bond and debenture, it is not a deposit. If it is not convertible, not secured, but it is listed on the stock exchange, it is not a deposit. Employee से आपने पैसा लिया which is not exceeding his annual salary, then it is not a deposit. If it exceeds annual salary, then it will be deposit. Okay, all these limits you have to learn. You cannot say that it is not interest bearing, but it is exceeding, then it will be not deposit. Swati, are you asking something? Okay, just wait. Let me. Okay, Khushbu says thank you so much, ma'am. Khushbu, your points are clear now? And all these, point number 11 relates to the ordinary course of business. You have to understand in that point of view that if the goods have been given in 365 days, if immovable property has been given against the advance has been adjusted, all these will not be considered as deposit. And the last point was for promoters. Promoters were a point we have done in the example also. And for the startup companies, 25 lakhs is the limit that you have to see. Convertible notes are being given, then it will not be considered as deposits. All right. So let's see further few questions for all of you. 1 or 2 we can do. Ashish Limited is having a net worth of 80 crores and a turnover of 30 crores. Wants to accept deposits from the public other than its members. So state the conditions and procedures. So is it following under the, okay, Swati was answering this question. No, because the net worth is less than 100 crores in turnover. So it is not an eligible public company. So you will simply give the definition of eligible public company. You will tell them what all credit rating agencies, everything has to be obtained. Since it is having a net worth of this and turnover this, which is not within the prescribed limits, hence it cannot accept the deposits from the public other than its members. If it wants to accept the deposit, it has to fulfill the criteria. So from the members, it can take, but it cannot take the money from the public. Okay, very good. Wonderful answers given by all of you children. Okay, let's take another question. State the procedure to be followed by the company for accepting. What will you give? You will simply tell Section 73 DPT forms and all these things, and all the clause A and E are not applicable to the private companies. You will give them all the exemptions of the private companies that we have discussed in this chapter. Then straightforward direct questions can also come in the exam. Appointment of trustee. So you have understood all those trustees. DPT2 form has to be filled. The person following people shall not be appointed as a trustee. Written consent has to be taken within 7 days of the before the issue of circular. Trustee shall be appointed. All these things. Credit rating. Now this question I wanted to prove with you. What are the provisions applicable to the credit rating which wants to raise the public deposits? It says Companies Act 2013, Section 76 says that eligible public company which wants to raise the money shall obtain the credit rating, including its net worth, liquidity, and ability to pay. That means that you have that soundness in your financial position that you can repay the money, and from a recognized credit rating agency like CRISIL and all, you have to take this rating, and this is to ensure the safety and security to the public. Then this rating shall be taken once in every financial year and shall be sent to ROC along with the return of deposits. So whenever you're filing a return of deposits DPT3, you should also send that this is the credit rating on the basis of which we have taken the money. The credit rating should not be below the minimum investment grade. Okay, minimum investment grade rating means that this much investment grade rating shall be given, or the other specified rating for fixed deposits. Now, children, if you give FDs to the bank, so the bank has a minimum guarantee investment grading rating has to be seen. So similarly, for any company which is fixed deposits means when you give money to the banks, you get a certain rate of interest, and after a certain period, your deposits will be repaid. Similarly, this is a fixed deposit which the company is taking. So they have to see that minimum investment grade rating has been given, that this company is actually having a worthy of paying back the money. And it shall be taken from the approved rating agencies as specified by NBFCs in the NBFC's acceptance of deposit directions. So this is a simple line. You can simply remember that approval of the credit rating shall be the approved ones specified for the non-banking financial companies. Is that clear? The rest are very simple questions, children. I think you can go through, and after doing a quick revision of this chapter, you must sit and do all the MCQs given in the study material and try to write down the descriptive questions given in the study material. It is in itself self-explanatory, children. Everything has been beautifully explained to you over there, and I can show you something more about it. Anyone has any doubts, you can ask me, children. I will show you, there is a very beautiful ready reckoner by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. You can see that also once you have revised, and in the last few days when you are doing a revision of your syllabus, you can simply refer to the provisions over here also. So see how beautifully Saransh has been made by Institute of Chartered Accountants of India for you. See, such a colorful presentations have been given. All these documents you can refer over here. Interpretation of statutes have been given, general clauses. I will just quickly show you the deposits chapter also. So once you are done with your syllabus, just open this ICAI ready reckoner. You can just go through important terms. See how beautifully, decoratively they have made what all is included and what all is not included in the deposits definition. They have told you about the premature. So once you keep on reading the headings, it keep on helping you to revise whatever you have learned from the study material. Types of deposits can be secured, unsecured. Who can be the depositor means public or members. Eligible public company definition, which is important, has been given in such a nice circles over here. Amounts which are not considered as deposits. See how briefly they have explained you. So these are the things which you can just flip through the pages during your exam days, children. Institute is doing so much for you. It is your responsibility also to give them back by studying all these things nicely. All right. So all the provisions have been, I've shown you where it is covered. This is your prohibitive and exempted companies provision, all those private companies which are exempted. See? Then it starts with the registration of chapters. So for all the chapters, they have made all these brief summaries. So you must go through them as well. Yes, Rishabh, you will get the PDFs also. And thank you so much, Om Krishnam Gupta, for such a wonderful message. Thank you, Bhumika, Khushbu, Swati. I hope you have enjoyed the session. And no more doubts. So we can, I think, switch off the session if everything is clear. Thank you, children. Thank you so much. All right. Wishing you all the very best. Do well and definitely do a writing practice also. That is important. Okay, children. Thank you so much. Sir, the session is over. Students don't have any doubts. Okay, sir. Thank you.